The ZFC is the first Z-mount camera to feature a fully articulating rear LCD. This means that it can be rotated all the way forward for vlogging. Bonjour my fellow high-tech fans, welcome back to my channel. My name is Serene and together let's look at the nuts and bolts of the new Nikon ZFC. First, one very important thing you should be asking yourself while looking at this footage. Is this a full-frame camera or a APS-C camera? One thing you should know about Nikon, they don't use the APS-C name when talking about smaller sensors, smaller compared to a full-frame. They have a DX and FX format. The DX format is the smaller sensor. The larger full-frame FX format is approximately the same size as a 35mm film. Now that you know this crucial information, you should also know that if you have a full-frame Z camera model like the Z6, the Z6 Mark II or Z7 or Z7 Mark II, the FX lenses are compatible with DX cameras like the ZFC. But if you do buy lenses for a DX camera, you won't be able to use them with your full-frame camera. Quick question, when looking at this footage, do you know which one is from the DX and which one is from the FX? It's hard to tell, right? The answer is a bit later on this video. The new camera has a 20.9 megapixel sensor. While burst shooting, you can go up to 11 frames per second with full autofocus. It films in 4K at up to 30 frames per second and in 1080p at up to 120 frames per second. And let's not forget the 2.36 million OLED dot electronic viewfinder. So how good is the ZFC camera for everyday use? I received two lenses from Nikon to test out their new camera. A 16 to 50mm with an aperture from 3.5 to 5.6 and a beauty right here, the 28mm with an aperture of 2.8. The quality of the footage is absolutely breathtaking. For the first time on a DX format camera of the Z series, the ZFC offers Nikon's full-time eye autofocus mode while shooting video and also a wide area autofocus for people and animals. Full-time meaning I can move while talking to you and even be with someone else without being blurry. So, how is it behaving? When shooting stills, it also includes focus modes that combine face and eye autofocus with a large focus zone, letting you take more control over where the camera looks for a subject. The ZFC is the first Z-mount camera to feature a fully articulating rear LCD. This means that it can be rotated all the way forward for vlogging, and when you are done, you can fold the screen to face the back of the camera. That way, you can protect the LCD panel when, like me, you put the camera in your purse. The other new feature of the ZFC is the ability for it to accept firmware updates from a smartphone. This is very convenient. You'll be quickly apprised about the upcoming update, and with a simple touch on the screen of your phone, you'll be able to update the firmware of your camera. What about its overall feel? The ZFC is a pretty light-feeling camera. The lack of a hand grip helps keep the weight down. The ZFC has a USB-C socket on its side, which can be used to power the camera, as well as to charge the battery. It's a USB 3 generation, meaning it should be faster at charging and also at transferring data. Now, let's look at the overall design, which, in my opinion, is a great success. Designed to evoke the company's famous FM2 SLR from the 80s, the ZFC offers generous manual controls, including dedicated dials for shutter speed, exposure compensation, and ISO. The ZFC uses solid aluminum dials, and Nikon says the numbers are etched into the metal rather than being printed or stuck on the surface. The ISO and shutter speed dials both have press locks on them to prevent accidental operation, but this means they require slightly more considered operation. You can calibrate the aperture and see the information right here. A small switch at the base of the shutter speed dial lets you jump from photos to video shooting and back. The dials are intuitive and very easy to use. The lack of headphone socket for monitoring audio may undercut its appeal as a vlogging camera, as does the absence of in-body stabilization. Nikon's kit zoom is stabilized, but lens stabilization cannot correct for rotational movement like in-body system can. If you buy the kit with the 28mm prime lens, you'll have no stabilization at all. You'll need a gimbal. The ZFC uses the same EN-EL25 battery as its DX format sister, the Z50, and since it shares that camera screen, viewfinder, sensor and processor, it delivers a very similar battery life. The upside of having the ability to recharge the camera using its USB socket is that you can charge your camera with your USB power bank. Yes, that's right, the one you use for keeping your phone topped up. The new DX frame from Nikon will soon be available in 6 special editions. Now, the price of the ZFC. The body only is $1,000 or 900 euros, and if you want the 28mm lens, it's $1,200 or euros. If you want a colorful ZFC, the limited edition cameras will be sold as a kit with the silver DX 16 to 50mm lens for $1,200. Now tell me, did you guess it right? Which one is a full frame footage FX format and which one is the DX format from the ZFC? It was hard to tell, right? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, subscribe and come and say hi to my other social media accounts. Take care les amis. Salut!